I came to this realization when I was in the hospital for my third stroke. I was looking at the heart monitor. You don't want to see that flat line. But I remember sitting there going, gosh, I want that heartbeat all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, because I want that to know that my heart is strong enough to handle this. And as I'm sitting there having my third stroke, a coaching principle comes to my head. I'm like, if I make it through this, I'm teaching this. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, everyone just wants to coast, which coasting is flatlining. Everyone wants this kind of line in life, but that is not the fullness. That's not the heartbeat. That is not what gives you all of life. It's the ups and the downs.
I won't waste another minute, no, I won't. I'm a man on a mission. I'm a man on a mission. I don't need no permission. I'm a man on a mission.
Welcome to Entitled to Nothing, where we believe our life is our fault. My name is Mink, and I started this show because I've spent the last 20 years running headfirst into failure after failure, and I've learned how to turn my failures into lessons, and I've used those lessons to create life on my terms. I went from being broke and bankrupt with 6 figures in debt to starting multiple companies that have generated over 50 million in sales. And I want to share everything I've learned on my journey to help inspire you on yours. So this week, guys, we've got an amazing episode. I had the privilege to sit down with Darleen Santore, better known as Coach Dar. She was the mental skills coach for the Phoenix Suns for multiple years. She's a performance coach for athletes and executives in the NBA, NHL, MLB, NFL, all the sports leagues. She works with Fortune 500 executives, and she really helps coach people on the mental side of life. And she does this because in her life, she has overcome unbelievable obstacles. She's lost both of her parents. She's had this incredible life of adversity and struggle and challenge. And she's found a way to turn all of it into a purpose that drives her to help anyone and everyone she can overcome any setback. She wrote a book called The Art of the Bounce Back, which she gives you her 9-step plan on how to overcome any adversity in life. And in this episode, we dive into the book, and more importantly, we dive into the challenges of life and how you and I can learn from her experiences and learn from our adversities and ultimately use them to fuel us for growth and help us get to the next level. I think you're going to really appreciate this episode. I had an amazing conversation with Coach Dar, and I can't wait to share it with you. So let's get started.
Coach Dar, thank you for joining the show. How are you today?
Thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it, seriously.
It has been, we've had the opportunity to connect recently, and it's been a pleasure to just get to know you, get to know your story, and learn a little bit about you. And as I said in the intro, I'm really excited to have you here because I think everything that I believe with all my heart, I feel like you are the epitome of. And what I want to do to start it out actually is just start right at the beginning of your book. Because in principle 1, it's called Embracing the Suck, right?
Yes.
Which is amazing because I come across to some people, like when I tell people your life is your fault, I get a lot of pushback.
I'm sure.
And some of the pushback is from people that have experienced traumatic health stuff. Oh, you're saying it's my fault that I'm depressed. You're saying it's my fault that I have cancer. How dare you? This is rude. This is disrespectful. Like, how could you say this? And obviously, I'm not saying everything that happens is your fault. It might not be your fault, but it is your responsibility.
What are you going to do with it once it happens?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, you're just the most perfect example of this message. And I can't wait for the audience to hear your story and learn about you. But a couple things from your book right out of the gate. It says a setback often moves us to a road that is even worse, but leads to an even better destination.
Yes.
It's like a beautiful quote. And I'm not going to try to pronounce this name. Makoma?
Yeah, it's a lot longer. Yeah.
But I was struck on the first page because you said, I wake up every morning and I have 2 thoughts. Dar, you have the ability to go awaken greatness in yourself and others today, as wide as God will allow. So go live your mission. So that's thought number 1. And then thought number 2 is be grateful for today because any day can be your last. Or you could have your 4th stroke. So say the important things today.
Yeah.
4th stroke.
Yeah.
That's pretty unbelievable. On the next page, in this, I was reading this and I got emotional, and that's when I sent you a message this weekend. It says, the truth is I've had more than one major setback in my life that almost kept me from bouncing back, much less moving forward. I've been forced to practice what I preach. I say forced as there's been several times I did not want to take my own best advice because the gut punches took everything out of me. And then you list some of your crazy setbacks. Setback number 1, I had my first stroke. Number 2, I was told I couldn't have kids. Number 3, I went through a divorce. 4, I had my second stroke. 5, I had my third stroke, which took away my ability to speak fluently. And as a coach and a speaker, that has a little bit of an impact.
Yeah, a lot.
Right?
Very much so.
Okay. And then the insurance company tells you that they're not going to cover your rehabilitation. And at that time, your next setback is you're struggling to get speaking gigs because of everything going on. Therefore, you don't have a lot of money to pay for the medical rehabilitation. Then setback number 8, your mother dies. And then setback number 9 is your father dies.
Yeah.
So I read this and I'm just like, oh my God. And when I met you and when I see you, you're just like this loving, passionate, just like source of inspiration and encouragement for so many people. And then I read your story and I learn about all of the struggle and challenge and setbacks you've had. But in your affirmation, you say something to the effect of, you have to take 100% responsibility for your life.
Yeah.
There's no other way.
Right.
How, fill in the gaps a little bit on the story. Like, when was the first stroke?
Right.
How did that happen? And how have you developed this bounce back mindset?
I did not want to be the expert in this, but life has allowed me the opportunity. And I say opportunity because I really look at all of this adversity and struggle as a way of it allowing me to advance, to help people more. And this is all of this is why I'm so passionate what I'm doing, because I deeply, deeply care when people hurt. Or I'm for the underdog. Every day I'm for the underdog. I love the story, the 30 for 30s in life. I love people starting something. I love when people get the chance to come back at something, because that's been my whole life. And I started from that. I mean, my parents came from nothing. You know, they're from Italy. Well, my family's from Italy. Italian family in Connecticut. We didn't have a lot. My mom was a barber. My dad was a tool and die maker. And we had a lot of Italians over our house every Sunday. So while we didn't have a lot financially, we had family. And thankfully we had family, because it was like my rock, as crazy as they are, because they are the Sopranos. But I saw my mom have her first triple bypass at 40 years old. And she went through excruciating surgeries early on. And she had multiple heart surgeries her whole life till she passed at 72. And I saw this woman fight back every damn day. Every day she'd get up and she'd go to the barber shop as soon as she got healthy enough, because she said, you know what, Dar, if God has me here, then I'm needed, because someone in that barber seat's going to need a word today. And she had purpose. And I just saw her in pain, never complain, get up and go. So just think how that was setting me up for when my adversity came. I was thinking, I saw this woman who is like my hero, get up and do it. I got this. And to your point of, no, I didn't ask for the strokes, but they came my way, and all the adversity that's come my way. You get to a moment when it happens, you embrace the suck, you have to deal with the emotion of it, because if not, it's going to come out somewhere else. But then you have to get a handle of it and say, so what, now what? Okay, it is what it is. What are we going to do about it? Because if we don't do that, then we're going to be stuck in this victim mentality over and over. I mean, the stroke is a part of my story, but it is not my whole story.
Yes.
I want the triumph to be the story. I want all the lives that I helped to be the story. I want how all of this helped me go forward to serve better. Because I'll say I live with the mission of awakening greatness, but I really live with the mission of, I didn't come here for me. Like, legit, right now, today, I'm not on this earth for me. It's not for what Dar could accumulate. No, I'm here because God gave me a mission, and I'm going to serve that out like a soldier until the day I'm called out of here. And so when you have that mentality of, soldier, what's your mission and how you serve it? I mean, I look at this as I'm showing up to life so I could help people live their life.
Yeah.
And if I don't, that could mean one person who needed it might not get what they need. So I live with that. And once you have that mentality, when the shiz hits the fans, you're like, okay, bring it. Here we go. Been there, done that. It's like the cold plunge. You know how you get in the cold plunge every day?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cold. But once you expose yourself to the cold enough, your body's like, oh, we know what he's doing now. You know, it knows it. That's what adversity does. When you put yourself in enough adversity, or you've gone through enough, when it comes, you're kind of going, all right, I don't like this, but I know that for every other challenge I've been through, I got to the other side, and I'll get to the other side as long as I get up and keep going.
Yeah. It's so funny you say that. One of the points that I marked in the book that I wanted to reference is literally about this. And it says, adversity is part of life. There's going to be times where you feel defeat, sadness, grief, and loss. You'll have days where the worst case scenario is playing out in your mind on repeat. And while all those feelings may be real, in order to actually move forward, you have to reframe the situation.
Always.
And then you talked about how research shows that there are measurable health benefits from accepting negative emotions and thoughts. As ironic as that sounds, studies show that people who accept their negative emotions instead of judging them actually experience fewer negative emotions.
Yeah, you create almost a neutrality with it. Because once you start understanding that there's going to be negative feelings, there's going to be adversity, you're going to go through challenges, and you don't try to positive Pollyanna it.
Yeah.
You accept it for what it is because you have to. It's like the general going in battle, looking over the hill and going, yeah, this is not great over there, and I don't like any of this, but we're prepared, and we're going to go do the best we can. Let's go, troops. That's how you have to handle life. And when you do that, you have psychologically, you are much more prepared to win the battle.
Yeah. You know, I've heard it said that you don't want problems to happen. You don't want adversity, struggles, challenges.
Yeah.
But it would be naive to not understand that they're coming.
Right.
And so it's like, I don't know what life or God or whatever has in store for me. I don't know what challenges or adversity I'm going to go through. I don't wish for it. I don't want for it, but I know at some point in time it's coming.
Yeah.
And just by understanding that a worthy opponent is going to be in your future, rather than seeing it as a negative or as life happening to you, right? You can see it as, okay, like, I don't like it, I don't want it, but it's here.
Yeah.
So I have to deal with it.
Right. It's for you. It's for you.
Yeah.
And listen, we cannot get better, and we will never appreciate the fullness of life if we don't go through adversity. And I came to this realization when I was in the hospital for my third stroke, and I was looking at the heart monitor. And when you're in the hospital, you don't want to see that flat line because you're like, well, if this flat lines, we're out. Game over. But I remember sitting there going, gosh, I want that heartbeat all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, because I want that to know that my heart is strong enough to handle this. And as I'm sitting there having my third stroke, a coaching principle comes to my head. I'm like, if I make it through this, I'm teaching this. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, everyone just wants to coast, which coasting is flatlining. Everyone wants this kind of line in life, but that is not the fullness. That's not the heartbeat. That is not what gives you all of life. It's the ups and the downs. And by the way, when you hear the beat down, you'll hear a beat up, and then it'll go down and it'll go up. Dun, 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 dun. It's going to. So if you're in a valley, hold on. You're going to get a blood flow. You're going to get the push back up. And then you might slide a little, but then it'll go back up. You have to stay in the fight. And we cannot expect life to coast. Not relationships, not our children, not our careers. I mean, if literally your company was like, gosh, if it could just coast, that means no growth. That means no depth. That means no fullness. You can't appreciate everything if you just let it coast. And if you let it coast, your foot's off the gas. You're going to roll backwards. So you have to literally look ahead, stay on course, and accept the ups and downs. And when they come, just know you have 100% bounce back rate. There's no other stat in our life we have 100%. But damn it, we have 100% bounce back rate right now if we're listening to this.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's so beautiful. I had the privilege to go to India, and I did this like little spirituality retreat, meditation, all this stuff. And one of the things that they said was all suffering that we experience comes from self-centered thinking.
Yeah.
Which I've thought about that a lot. And as you were talking, you were like, I am not here for me. I'm here to serve.
Yeah.
And given everything that you've been through, it would be very easy for you to feel like life is happening to you at times. And we didn't even get into like how the stroke happened, but it was due to a medical malpractice, would you say? Or
It's
like,
just a freak thing.
just
I
a
gone
freak
to a
accident?
chiropractor.
Yeah.
They manipulated my neck. When they manipulated my neck, they ripped the vertebral artery to my brain.
yeah. So
Freak.
you go for a routine chiropractic appointment, breaks an artery in your neck, that goes to the brain.
Yep.
Stroke 1, 2, 3 can all be related to that experience that wasn't your fault. You didn't have
No.
anything to do about it. No hereditary issues. It's
No.
just literally a fluke accident. I think it would be so easy to suffer for a lifetime because of that happening. It would be so easy to say this happened because of someone else, they fucked up, or this, or this, or this. And you've found a way to not only transcend that like victim mentality or that suffering, but you've turned it into a force for good for others.
Absolutely.
And you've used it
Yeah.
to literally encourage and support like countless lives.
Well, you said, when you went to India and you learned that principle. For me, my mom, I was raised with faith, and she said, listen, Dar, Jesus suffered. He didn't have to. He came and literally suffered for us. So everyone's going to bear a cross. It's going to be something. We're all going to bear something, which is suffering. In this life, there'll be suffering, period. When you know that coming into this world, and that is, he's my hero. And I'm thinking, well, sugar, the most perfect human being on the planet, suffered. What makes me think I'm not going to? Everyone's going to have to carry something. We're not going to go free without it. So I'm already ready. Like I'm in the battle.
Yeah.
I was prepared for it. My mom's like, it's coming. Just be ready.
Yeah.
I was asked the other day on a show, what would you tell like someone younger? I said, strap in, get ready. It's going to be hard, but you're going to make it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to give false hope. I'm going to give you hope.
Yeah.
But I'm going to let you know I'm a realistic optimist. There's going to be challenges, but get ready and get prepared now because you're going to make it through it. And the more tools you could learn now, the better you'll be to fight the battles, which means you'll get through it better. And the whole point of writing this book was because from the youth to adults, we're just not taught enough mental resiliency tools. We're just not. And my whole career as a therapist in neuroscience and neuropsychology, my whole world now coaching athletes and CEOs or business owners is I'm giving them the mental edge, but the whole thing is I keep teaching them mental resiliency tools. And so why I'm doing that is so that when the lows come low, they won't be as low once you learn the tools. Because it's like going to the gym, you stretch your fibers, the muscle grows. Now, when you go to take a load on, your muscle is bigger and stronger to handle that load. The same happens with mental resiliency. The more you build it and work on it, which is all the mental fitness tools that I teach, you're building muscle. So when the hits come, you have a larger muscle, so the lows don't go so low. So you're not in the valley as much. And what's it mean? When you have a bigger muscle, you could peak back up faster.
Yes.
You don't go as low.
I have to say, I mean, one of the whole reasons why I didn't want to start a podcast because I thought the world needed another one. I mean, it surely doesn't. There's enough people out there talking about different things. But from my perspective, I felt like we don't, like everything that you just said, I feel is absolute truth. Like life is going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. Shit's going to happen. Things are going to break. You're going to fall down. It like no one gets out alive.
No.
Right. So like, but we can enjoy the experience just simply by understanding that oftentimes the biggest problem we have is we think we shouldn't have them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I heard Tony Robbins say that once and I was like, that literally is the key to happiness in life.
Yes.
Like, I think we become unhappy because of unmet expectations. And we have all of these expectations that it should just be sunshine and rainbows. And then we get pissed when it rains.
Right.
And it's like, well, you have to have the rain and the sun to create life.
Yes.
And it's just so interesting to me because I just feel like we have we have access and exposure to so many things, but everybody does want to make it about how good it is versus like the truth of life being it's really going to be hard. And I think that's just what I love about your message in this like beautiful elegant form is like, these are all the things that I went through, and we can use all of this for good.
Right. And you know what? There's beautiful moments along the way, just like the heartbeat. There's the up points that are, it's all the beauty. And you seize those moments. I mean, I could remember what I do is I take mental pictures of things when I was able to go and for the first time in my life this summer to Italy, and I got to teach out there, and I've always wanted to go, and then just timing wouldn't allow it. And then I thought how amazing it took me all these years to go, but I get to go because I'm teaching there. And when I sat there in Italy, I just took a mental picture, and I was so full of gratitude that I could be in my mother country with my people eating. And it was just amazing. And I just sat there at moments, and I would take these pictures, and I said, don't forget this, Dar. Because when it gets hard, I'm going to mentally go to here. I'm going to go to here, to this moment, to remember those moments. So take mental pictures. They're like anchors, and enjoy the moment when you know you're getting that time in life where you're going, this is awesome. Or there's moments where I've just sat at the table with people I loved, sharing a meal, and I'm like, and I say it all the time now, I'll go, I'm so happy. I'll tell people, I'm like, I'm so happy right now. And they laugh. They're like, does it take you a lot? I'm like, no, it doesn't. And I'm like, but I let people know, like, I'm so happy because I've experienced such pain that when I experience joy, I want it to be known. And so we don't always get this long runway of moments. They come in many moments. And so enjoy them because that's how you get oxygen when you're climbing the mountain. It's like when I climbed Camelback. I remember climbing Camelback here, and I'm thinking, 10 minutes in, what the hell? I was like, how long is this going to take? And am I actually going to be able to do this? And I thought I was in shape, but I was dying 10 minutes in. And I'm like, okay, you know what the lesson here is? As soon as you catch your breath, you have the endurance to go again. You don't quit. You don't not climb that mountain, because when you get to the top, the view is incredible. And I was so glad my buddy's like, you're going to want to get to the top. And so I just remember that. I kept going, and then I was like gassed, and I'm like, I got to stop. He's like, okay. Caught my breath. I'm like, all right, I could go again. Even in workouts now when I'm like, damn, this is hard. I'm like, hold on, catch your breath. You could do it again. That's life. Go. You'll go to the point where you're like, I need a moment. Great. Take the moment, catch your breath, but don't stop. Keep climbing. Yeah.
What is your inspiration to keep climbing in those moments?
I'm on the mission for Jesus. Not kidding. I am, listen, I am all in. I'm all in on my mission. I would not be here without it. And I'm not going until he calls me home. When he calls me home, I'm like, party. I'm ready. I get to go see my family. Let's go. But he knows the time. I don't. And I'll just keep going until then. I mean, whatever comes my way, I'm going.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you started out as an occupational therapist, working in hospitals, helping support patients. And through all these health challenges and struggles that redirected your focus. And now you work with top athletes, executives, entrepreneurs. What's that experience like? And how did that even become possible? When you hear like, oh, you traveled with the Phoenix Suns for 5 years. You were in, you were, I don't want to say in the locker room, but you were like in the organization, coaching them, helping them stay sharp and on their game. How does one even get to that point? And how did life or God guide you in that direction?
So here's what I want to tell people is when you follow your giftedness and where your strengths are, it'll lead you to exactly where you're supposed to be. I always say, don't force, let it flow. Everything in my life has been flow, not force. I will never force myself in a room, in a situation, in a group. And so I've never left my path. I'm still an occupational therapist in all that I do today. I'm trained, board certified to literally help people live life to their fullest, mentally, physically, and spiritually. I help find ways to make the impossible possible. I help create mental edge in people's lives. I've been doing that with traumatic brain injured patients when I start, who are the worst of the worst with everything against them. I help them find a new normal. I help them find a way. And so I ended up going back to school for business because I wanted to fix healthcare. So when I got done at 28, I became president of a healthcare company, which I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But my mentor said, say yes, put good people around you and go. And the whole thing in business and leadership is what? Helping their mindset. So I took all my tools in the hospital, moved it into business and said, oh, everything is about helping build human capital. Oh, I got that. I've been doing that for literally years, building human capital and mental capital. So I did that in business because figuring out a business process is easy. Getting a group of people to follow that, that's a lot harder. And so did that in business. And then in 2008, when the world was crashing, I literally just felt like I was watching an accident, and I felt like I was an EMT going by and I needed to help people. And I left a very lucrative career to go serve on the front lines. And I left everything. I needed health insurance. I left it. I needed income, left that, and left a very, corporate job to start my own practice because I believed I could help people in a better way. And it was truly a calling at that moment. I heard drop your nets and follow, and I was like, let's go. My father goes, is this the damn stroke speaking? Like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. No business plan, no clients. You don't even know what you're doing. Like, I said, yes, I do. I know my gifts and talents. I've run companies. I'm just going to start. It's like, you've never started a practice. But to the point I said earlier, go ugly early. I was like, we're going to start. My first ever brochures of me speaking are so ugly. It's not even funny. I made them on my Mac computer. And I was like, I'm going to speak on mindset. And whoever showed up, I'm going to start talking and I'm going to start shifting lives. And I called it Nights of Inspiration. Yeah. And I just got out there. I was convicted by my passion, not by profits. It will come. The money will come. And by the way, it ebbs and it flows and it ebbs and it flows. You're like, okay. But guess what? Through all that, no one could take away your gifts and talents. So I just kept following that. And then that's how it kept building. And then players would come to me on the down low before all this mental conditioning. And now people hire me as their own mental skills coach, which is fantastic. But I was like Elon Musk back then saying, hey, we're going to have self-driving cars. They're like, you're crazy. When I was talking about mindset is the new way, like working on your edge is the new way. Work on this now. And you could be that better CEO, that player. So it was all word of mouth. And then that's just how it grew. It's been word of mouth for almost 20 years.
So you're going to leave the security and comfort of something for the lack of security and unknown of something else. Where does the confidence come from to do that? Or how did confidence, self-doubt, limiting beliefs, how did all of that have a role or an impact on you in that moment? Because I think, so actually, we just recorded a podcast and I said the biggest mistake I've ever made in my life is I didn't believe in myself. Yeah. And the truth is I didn't for most of my life. And there's a whole lot of reasons why. But I with Live Bearded, I'm privileged to talk to thousands of men over the years. Yeah. And I really do think that confidence and self-doubt or limiting beliefs is the number one mistake that people make. It's the number one thing that holds them back. So when I'm listening to you, I hear someone that just believes, just trusts, just has faith. Yeah. How did you build that? Where does that come from? If someone's listening to this and they're like, oh, well, what about this? And what about this? I don't believe this. I don't know if I can do that. What are my gifts? I don't know. How do they get to that place of conviction and faith that you had?
I'll start with what worked for me and then maybe give some tips. So again, I grew up in whether it's your own personal family or a tribe around you, I will tell you what helps confidence is having the right tribe. Because it could be two friends, it could be one person, but just knowing someone could cheer you on. And not that my family was cheering me on because they all have scarcity mindset. But, and comfort is way better for them. But I think I always knew, and this is crazy, but I'm just being totally honest as I'm thinking about this. I wasn't going to be homeless because in an Italian family, someone's going to take you in and you're going to be fed. Seriously. So I'm like, okay, we're good. And then the other part is I wanted so much to make a better way for my family. My mom works 3 jobs. She works so hard. And I just wanted her to have a better life. And I wanted to show my dad that he could have done more too. And my dad, I don't think necessarily believed in my vision when I started. But before he passed, he looked at me and he said, this will make me emotional. I wish I had someone like you when I was younger, because I might have started my own thing. And I would have taken a chance because he was really good at what he did. He was scared because he had to provide for a family. And I just have so much respect for him. So I'm glad that I went and did it. And I really wanted more for my family. I wanted more for me, and I wanted more for my family. So that propelled me. I also was told at 25 that I could die any day. So kind of you F fear. You're like, shiz, I could die any day. Well, let's go. I mean, I'm afraid of what someone thinks. I'm afraid if I try a business and it doesn't work out. Businesses don't work out all the time. Yeah. But more often than not, it's the trying to figure it out that you get to what does happen. You get to every time something doesn't go right, you learn something, and that's another step up the mountain. So it always leads you to someone, to someplace. And then along the way, me just trying damn hard enough. I mean, when I was starting it out, and even when I left the corporate world and I had everything and I was starting again, I'd go work as a therapist during the day, change in the car, eat whatever I could, and then go literally coach at night. And even with all of this working for me right now, when I was writing this book, I was working full time, writing from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. Like, you give me a task and I'm not backing down. They say the Capricorn is a goat. I think I'm a damn goat. I'm like, I'm climbing the mountain. We're going. Like, everyone on my back, let's go. And the confidence comes from enough reps in the gym, enough reps of going at it over and over. So I'll say to people, you're going to be scared. You're not going to know how it's all going to work out, but just keep getting enough reps in the arena that you want to be in, and it'll lead to success. Because the reason that we know about the greats is because they didn't give up. The people that we don't know about, it's because they gave up. Don't be the person that gave up. Be the person that we all know. And Kobe Bryant said it best, greatness is not in what you accomplish. It's how you live that you inspire someone else. So greatness is open to all, earned by few. Go earn it.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
Couple of themes, again, just in everything that you're saying. It really does seem like when you're not focused on yourself, right, that then the fear, the doubt, the lack of whatever goes away. Yeah. Because your whole focus is like, I want to go serve these people. I have these skills. I think I can help them. And then you knew what you wanted. You were very clear on the vision. And it sounds like you were even clearer on why you wanted it.
Yeah, the why is everything.
So I think, and this is the big aha that I've had in my life recently, is just kind of going through this process and reflecting. It's like, when you know truly what you want, you can start to crystallize that vision, and then you get so attached to the why. The how doesn't even matter. It's like, who do I have to become in order to create the why and then the what? But I feel like so often when we're self-centered, we're focused on, how do I do this? How do I get this? That's where the doubt, the fear, the insecurity comes in. And again, you're just a beautiful example of like, I didn't care about any of that shit because I was so focused on what I wanted to create and what I wanted to serve it for other people and why it meant something to me. And I feel like that, I don't know why, but probably because for me, that's what I struggled with most of the time. But I just know that that's what a lot of people are struggled by. And I think that message is so powerful to people. And that's why I love the bounce back system that you've created. I think you're exactly right. People need to have some tools to develop mental resilience. And the more that you can develop it, the more that you can learn and grow and serve.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So amazing. So speaking of the bounce back principles, you have 9 of them in the book. We talked about number 1, embracing the suck, right? Then you talk about understanding who you are, seeking feedback, discovering your why power. Right? That's one of the main principles. Yeah. Let's touch on that for a minute. Like, how does someone find their why? Or
I think it goes to, and I take you exactly through how to find the why in the book, but it comes down to, I'll go to 30 for 30s, but your show is going to be aired out. You know, when I gave my mom and dad's eulogy, that was their 30 for 30. I was reciting for them, showing videos, and I said, everyone here's 30 for 30 is going to be played out, meaning your story. Who were you? What did the documentary, what's the docu-series, all about on you? What's the title of your whole theme of the docu-series? And that's kind of that's really what your why is. It's kind of, what's the anthem you want your story to be? Mine is awakening greatness. I hope when I go, and as I'm on this journey that everyone's like, you know what? Dar really helped me awaken my greatness. She stood for greatness. She stood for excellence. She awakened something in me. Like all of the message, I hope keep going around this theme that I'm living for. It's my why. It's why I get up. Like, and you'll know what you're created for because it's a core value that totally aligns with you. So I take people through identifying what their core values are, and then you narrow it down to 5, and then you pick one, which becomes your kind of like that's your anthem. But your 5 are your pillars. It's a part of who you are. But then that one is where, man, you put that stick in the ground, that flag, and you're like, this is my why. And that gives you power because you can only will yourself so much. When I was going through all of my tough times, and still when it gets hard, I could only will myself so much to get up and keep going. But my why is what drives me. It literally is like I'm plugged in. And when I deviate from my why, it's literally like I got unplugged. So I got to plug back into that. And that gives me juice to keep going.
Yeah. I just heard this distinction between grit and grind.
Mm-hmm.
And they said grind is when you're just working your ass off with no purpose or passion. But grit is working your ass off with purpose and passion and why.
So good.
Yeah.
That's so good. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gritty.
Mm-hmm.
We're not the grind and the hustle. You'll be back. I'd be back in the hospital every time I try. That does not work for me. I could be gritty though and grind. Gritty in the sense of like get up that mountain. But if you just keep trying to will yourself through it, you're just depleted. But your why, you just don't. Like these next few days, I told you I'll go day and night, day and night, day and night, all the way to midnight, get back up, work out, do it again, and be on.
Yeah.
But I'm in my flow state, and I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm doing it. So, that's joy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Working with professional athletes and executives, what are some of the biggest challenges or struggles that they have? And how do you help them overcome that?
Every single person doubts themselves. Every single person has challenges with their confidence. I don't care what name you tell me, they've struggled with confidence and doubt. Or they'll go through a period or a season or a dry spell, and then they'll think, did I lose it? Do I not have it anymore? And you're like, wait, what? But I get it, because I do the same thing. All humans do this. So what we do is I have a formula of how I start off the foundation of our coaching, building a foundation so that when we hit those moments, dry spells, lulls, knocked, person, life situation, injury, we go back to the foundation. Who you are, how you're made, the skills you have, the confidence card we created. Yeah. And I'll remind them of all of their gifts and talents. And while all the external circumstances might have changed, they didn't.
Yeah.
They still are the rock. They still could pull from that.
It's so good. Even just thinking about my experience as a business owner here, right? We do seasonal product launches and, we'll launch and we'll sell out in a day. And it's like, oh my God, everybody's celebrating and high-fiving like the biggest sales day we've ever had. And then 3 months later, we have another launch. And I'm like, fuck, can we do it again?
Yeah, of course.
Can we pull it off?
Yeah.
Or the Black Friday is like the Super Bowl for e-commerce.
Oh, for sure.
Right? And so we're like, shit, can we repeat what we did? And it's so interesting. And I have to say, that's probably the number one thing that held me back is because all the people that I looked up to, whether it was professional athletes, speakers like Tony Robbins has had a massive influence on my life. I love that guy with all my heart. I never really heard him say that he had doubts or fears. And I heard him say, well, I used to, but like I conditioned that shit out of me. So it doesn't bother with me anymore. But what really changed for me is when I heard a couple entrepreneurs that I look up to. And on one hand, he was like, this is Andy Frisella. He goes, I'm the baddest motherfucker on the planet. And I'm like, okay, that's a little harsh. That's a little, like out there. And then on the next hand, he was like, shit, man, like I'm just figuring this out. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I doubt myself every day. And I was like, it created this cognitive dissonance where I was like, how could both of those things be true? And so I really had to analyze it. And I was like, okay, so one is an affirmation and the other is a fear, but he's not driven by the fear. He's driven by the affirmation. And so and he started talking about it in a way for the first time that I heard. And he said exactly what you said. He said, all the most successful people I've ever met, we're all like talking about, I don't know if I can pull it off again. I don't know how I got here. Like, I don't even know, like, did I get lucky? Can I do it again? And I just think we see professional athletes on the screen, or we read the article of the most successful executives, and we're like, damn, they're so much smarter, stronger, better. They must never have these limitations or these fears. Yeah. And you say the number one thing that everybody has is that.
Absolutely. Because they're human. We're human. We're going to go through things that are going to gut punch us. I mean, literally, it's just going to take us off our game a little bit. And then we have to go back to remembering why we started this. And, you know, even entrepreneurs, everyone building something, you build it and then you're like, think we could still do this? I mean, I've worked with, remember, specific music artists that everyone knows. And then every time an album came out, they'd go, do you think someone's going to want to buy this one? And you're like, yes, I absolutely do. Because that's the humanness. And it's like, do I still have what it takes? Am I still relevant? Everyone just wants to know that they matter. Do I matter? What I have, is it something that will help you? And so we all go through those moments, the best of wondering, do people still care? Do I still matter in their life? And the answer is yes, 1,000% yes. And just be authentically you. Just keep showing up, because that's the other thing. If you try to play too much into a fake world, you can't stand on that. But if you're authentically you, that is a strong foundation. For me, I call it God confidence. I could walk in any room, anywhere. I've been to the White House, to the locker room, to the boardrooms, people speaking on stages, and they'll say, do you get nervous? And I'll say, I get excited. But if God's called me there, then I'm supposed to be there. And I'm not talking outside of things I don't know. Yes. I'm not trying to be something I'm not. I'm literally coming in with the skills and knowledge I'm coming into to share the gift. And after I share it, I go away. And so as long as I could do that and share a gift, how could you not stand in your calling? Yeah. It's a confidence that you get. So as long as you're doing that, you could have the confidence and you could ride this roller coaster of emotions that's coming.
Yeah. It's so good. On one hand, we are talking about adversity is coming no matter what. So prepare. Mm-hmm. And then on the other hand, we're saying, you're going to fear, you're going to doubt, you're going to not believe it's possible for yourself. Yeah. And that's exactly what's going to happen, regardless of whether you're just getting started, yep, or you're the $1 billion CEO. So just get comfortable with that as well. Yeah. So it's like, get comfortable with
being uncomfortable.
Bad shit happening. Yeah. And get comfortable with doubting yourself.
Yeah.
What else do we need to get comfortable with? What other misconceptions or limiting beliefs do we have about things that are just simply not true? Or maybe that's just part of life and we need to learn how to accept it.
Let me say it a different way. We carry around mental weights that throw us off our game. So we have to get comfortable with clearing the mental clutter every day. And so what that means is sometimes you wake up and you just feel off. Mm-hmm. You're not, you know when you're on, or when you're in a good mood, or you just know, and you're like, all right, let's go. Some days you get up, you're like, oh, what's going on? Like, I'm off. I'm not locked in. I don't feel what I normally feel. It's a mental weight somewhere. So is that you've been comparing to others too much? Are you seeking approval too much? Are you trying to be perfect that it's holding you back? Are you carrying around some shame that you need to let go? Is there bitterness in your heart? Like, there's all these things that I'll just say to people, do inventory. Because when you're off a little bit, sit with it for a second. And I think we don't do this enough, where we just get up and go, and we're not living with intention. So you can't just get up and go. You have to get up and go with intention. So in order to go with intention, you have to have done some sort of reflective exercise in the morning of going, okay, how am I feeling? Let's check in. Where are we? What's going on? Something feels off. What is it? All right. What's this emotion? It doesn't have to take a lot. It's like check, 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 check. Oh, this is it. What's truth and what's false? If what I'm feeling, is this actually a truth statement or a false statement? Because more often than not, we're filling a story in our head that is not truth. So clear that up, get intentional, reflect on your day, on where you want to go, set the intention. How is it you want to show up today? Even for today, when I was getting ready, I was like, I got so settled in where I needed to be today, so I could show up just ready for whatever you wanted to ask. and cleared everything out so that it's as real as it could be. So I think getting comfortable, being uncomfortable with checking into our emotions is something people don't do enough.
Yeah. One of the things I believe in our world today is we're experiencing change maybe faster than we ever have as a human race. Things are coming at us so fast. They're evolving, technology, all these things. So I think as individuals, we're managing a changing environment faster than we've really been equipped to do so. So when it feels heavy, when people aren't sure why they're off or what's going on, or they're just dealing with change after change or setback after setback, how do people get to a place of, okay, let me check in with myself? And what's that process?
Start in the morning. I mean, the world, everyone's going to vie for your time. Social media, people, everything wants to ping at you all day. You literally have to be the master of this. So just like you said, entitled to nothing, and the fact that we're responsible, well, damn, we're responsible for what we let in. So are you finding some quiet time? It could be 2 minutes in your car before you walk in somewhere, but just get quiet. You cannot think in the middle of noise at your highest level. That's where fight or flight comes in. You could train for it, and the military does. But for the most part, the everyday person, I need you to find some solitude to get that stroke of genius to come, to have the next best idea, to know what to do next. So find quiet time in the morning and throughout the day, literally 30 seconds. Just go quiet and just sit for a second. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what do I need right now? What's my intention? How do I want to show up right now? Without doing these check-ins, the day will command us instead of us commanding it. And so do you want to win the day? Well, you have to be intentional how you're going to win the day. Start by winning the morning, the afternoon, and the night, and then you'll win the day. But without having that intention, the day will start to conquer you.
Yeah. What would you say to someone who's doing that reflection and they're just experiencing, like, this happened to me? They're experiencing the victim side of things. They're stuck in victimhood, if you will. How does someone, if they're like, oh, so easy for you to say, but you don't know, I'm dealing with this and this and this. Sure. How do you get someone to get out of that?
A few things. One is go to writing. So you might need to write out what it is. Write how pissed off you are. Get it out. Then I need you to cross out the words that are standing in your way and that are kind of pulling you to a victim mindset, and write, those are false. They're starting to come, and then you need to write truth statements to them. Because if you don't create interference with that loop, it's going to take you like quicksand. So either writing, or I literally have had my clients go to YouTube and watch a comedy special. I'm not even kidding. I need to change their state.
Yeah.
When they're in a mental loop, you get in a mental loop and you're in quicksand, you literally start watching something that changes your state. Watch animals. Watch someone funny to you. And what you'll do is you'll notice as soon as you do and you let yourself laugh, it changes your state, and then the bad doesn't seem so bad for that second. I just need to get you out of that loop. Or you call someone. And what I do is I say to my closest people, all right, I get 10 minutes to talk to you about something. I'm really pissed off and I'm kind of perseverating on this. And they're like, go. I said, and I have the timer. And when it stops, and don't interrupt me. I just need to go. They're like, I got it. Like it's the vault. And I go, and then at the end, I'm like, shiz, I'm done. I'm done. And they're like, you're done? I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I mean, I don't want it, but yeah. And they're like, but I'm done. I committed to myself. I got 10 minutes to rant on this. And then I have to say, so what, now what? Like, it is what it is. It is what it is, people. There are certain things we cannot change. So what are you going to do about it? Staying in the victim mindset, staying pissed off. Every time you keep speaking that anger into it, what do? You keep perseverating that anger feeling in your body. Yeah. The vibrations of anger keep get it. This is not woo-woo. This is science, quantum physics. So you have to eventually choose to shift your state. Man, I was sitting there so pissed off after my third stroke. I came home, insurance wouldn't cover it. I obviously cannot work at that moment. I can't even speak. I was in the middle of trying to write the book, not this one, a different one. And then I made a shake because I was so hungry. Then I couldn't even open the shake because my hands wouldn't work. I was like, mother trucker, I am mad and I'm hungry and I just want to eat and I'm tired and all these things. And I had a moment. I called my friend and I'm like, I'm pissed. They're like, yeah, I would be too. I was like, yeah, I am. And they're like, what are you going to do about it? I was like, yeah, I know. I wanted to be mad. I wanted to be so mad, but I'm like, yeah, what am I going to do with it? Like, am I going to sit here all day like this? It's not going to help me. So then I had to pick myself up and go forward. So you have to you have to do things to get out of the loop. So for me, I watch Golden Retrievers. I love them. I listen to comedy, music. Hip hop is one of my things that gets me out of it. But anyways, I'll do things that will. Music, by the way, is such a game changer. Sound therapy is real. And if you want to change the state of your brain, whatever it is, I'm doing these retreats start this summer, and it's going to take people through an experience. And I'm using a sound engineer, and we're using sound to help people shift their states. Yeah. So sound is very powerful.
Yeah, you talk a lot about environments in the book, whether it's like the environment with music, the space that you're in, how you can do things. It sounds like you've developed almost a playbook for yourself for when you're not on your game to interrupt the pattern and get you back into your game.
Yeah.
Is that something that you teach all your clients to do as well?
Right there in the book.
Yeah.
I literally, everything I use, in the middle of writing the book. Okay, so at 25 years old, I was told that I could die any day and that I couldn't have kids. And I had just bought the book, What to Expect When You're Expecting. I had married my college sweetheart. I was like, life is great. I'm living the American dream. This is awesome. And then that hits. And I'm like, whoa, what is this? And having a family was a big thing for me. I mean, I'm Italian. Hello.
Yeah.
You have kids like right away. But I love family. And so when I was told that, it was such a hit. But I lived with, because I have this blood clot, that if it dislodges any day, I could die. So getting pregnant was not an option because the baby could live, but I could die. So I lived all of these years from 25 to in my 40s now, avoiding certain relationships because I didn't want to hurt them. I didn't want to get so close that we'd want to be together and share a life, but then I couldn't provide a family. And that's what they wanted. So I chose, heartbreak, and I chose to, exit so that they could have that, which meant a lot of lonely times, to only find out while I'm writing the book, the exact chapter, Reframe the Game. I'm going through I was having some bad headaches again. I was like, oh, could you imagine a fourth stroke while I'm writing this damn book? You've got to be sugaring me. So I go to the neurologist, and it's a new neurologist here. And he says to me at the end of it, he's like, no, I think you're going to be fine. We just got to mitigate some things. He said, but Dar, did you say that you said you couldn't have kids all these years? And I looked at him, I said, what? First of all, I didn't just say that. I was told that. And he goes, I'm so sorry, but I think you could have all these years. And I looked at him, I go, I'm going to need to process what you just said. And almost I wish you didn't tell me that, because what the hell am I going to do with it now? And I sat there and I got in the car and I had to go coach clients. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? How do I process this right now? So I could have had a family all these years, and then I had to reframe it. And I'm like, all right, Dar, well, I really believe what's meant to be will be. I really do. Against all odds, what's meant to be is supposed to be. So I reframed to that. Then I reframed to, if I had children, I don't know that I'd be here today having done all the things that I did. So I've helped a lot of youth and a lot of young men and a lot of people. They had me tally. I think I've reached over 100,000 people. Would that have happened if the path went this way? I don't know. So the reframe was, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. This is what was needed. And it was not part of the journey. And that's why I had to go this way. And I don't even know what's ahead. But the reframe was, Dar, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You did not lose time. You didn't lose anything, you gained. It's just different. Does it hurt that I don't have family? It does, because, you want to grow old with your kids and all of that stuff. It's not part of my journey. So I had to reframe it and accept it so I can move forward. Because that's a big thing as a woman to get really stuck on and to get bitter on. And you could be at things and be upset about it, or you can get there and just celebrate with everyone. So I have a lot of extended family now.
Yeah.
But I had to learn that principle. And I was going through, I already knew how to do these. And then I had to keep learning it while I wrote it. And I'll tell you, whatever you're going to speak or preach on, man, you're going to be tested on. So I joked around. I'm like, my next book is abundance. I'm like, I don't want to write on adversity. I want to write on love and joy and abundance. And they're like, yeah, okay.
I think it's a good idea for you.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Yeah. So you have to learn. I've really applied these principles, but reframing things is a big way to help handle adversity.
I mean, it's a choice, right? What I hear you saying is, we can choose this story, or we can choose this story. Mm-hmm. Which one do you want to live?
Yeah.
Do you want to live the story of the, I could have done this, and woe is me, and then that leads to greater levels of emotional pain and suffering and struggle? Or do you want to choose this story that is different than what you thought your life was for or about? How crazy of us to question God's grace. Yeah. Like, we have an idea of what we think we want, but ultimately, oftentimes I think life has something that's even greater for us if we're willing to surrender and trust, right? But I do believe everything, like, again, you're such a beautiful example of everything is a choice, in the sense that we don't choose what happens to us, but we always choose how we react and respond.
Right.
In the book, so we've kind of touched on two really powerful principles: reframe the game and turn the page. For me, I think these are probably the two that I think have had the biggest impact on my life. Being able to, again, choose the meaning that you're going to put on something, and then turn the page on the bad meaning, right? Like, that's very difficult.
Yeah.
So when you're faced with that decision of, I just learned this, what I wish you wouldn't even have told me, like, and you're in real time coaching yourself and turning the page. How do we learn to do that ourselves?
Turn the page.
Yeah.
I think once you've gone through the steps, which is why I put it in, I put it actually in a circle rather than it's just like, this is what you do, because you're going and then you might go back a little and you got to go back to this step and then you go forward, and it's just going to keep cycling. So you go through it. But in order to turn the page, you need to learn how to let go. You need to learn to forgive. You need to learn to release. You need to learn to let go. It's, in sports, when I'm working with the players and I'm saying, play the play. Well, you can't play the play if you're in the moment behind you, the last play. Or you can't play the play if you're in the play ahead. You literally have to play the play you're in, where your feet are.
Yeah.
And so anxiety is so much about us thinking about the future. Depression is us stuck in the past. And the present is right now. So if you want the gift, be here.
Yeah.
And so if you want to be able to really go forward, you have to release. You have to turn the page, let it go, release it. The shot's done. The shot's done.
Yeah.
Make the next play ahead of you. And you can't make that play if you don't let it go. You can't have that next relationship, that chance for love. You can't have that chance for opportunity in business. You can't have that chance with your children if you're always stuck in, I see a lot of parents, they're like, oh, they're growing up and I wish they'd stay there. And of course, all of that. Like, what about right now? Like, right now with your kids.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You never get that year back in the relationship. And even I've gone through heartache in relationships. And the way I reframed that and turned the pages, it taught me something. And when I went over to Italy, I loved this. I mean, they're all full of love. They're like, love is so beautiful. And we go on, it was a love journey with that person. I was like, a love journey, that's beautiful. But it was like, everything is there to enjoy, and, you learn something from it, and then you make the best of it, move on, and go forward to another one.
I love that.
I mean, I'm not going out like, you're not having 10 people here, but I'm just saying, like, everything is about playing the play you're in now.
Yes.
Play the play. Like, that's the only play. And by the way, you want to be great at something? The only way you're great is if you play the play right now. Buzzer beater shot. Are you all in, ready to go? Or are you disconnected because you're never going to make that shot? But man, we want to be great. Play the play now and release what's done. A great sports psychologist said, you know, when you're in golf and you put that club back in your bag, the hole is done. The moment you put that club back in your bag, that's done. Get up to the next hole and it's like new canvas all over again. Picasso, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a scene in The Last Dance where I don't know who is actually speaking, but they say what made Jordan so great was not his skills or his ability or his athleticism. And they called him a modern day mystic. And they said what made Jordan so great is in every moment that he was in, he was 100% in that moment.
Yes.
Before the game, during the play, he was 100% there.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally like took out my phone. I recorded the TV saying that. And I was like, how can I have more presence in my days? And that's what exactly what you're
That's
talking
exactly it. The greats are really good at being in the moment.
Yeah.
And I think we don't do that. Sports, because it's so fast, it allows you to more often than not. But I think people forget to apply this in life.
Yeah.
And like right now, I have no idea what's going on in the world. It doesn't matter. I can't even control it. But right now, all I can do is be present for this moment with you. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And if you do that enough, that leads to greatness.
Yeah,
which is what
it does. And we live in a world where everyone just wants to feel seen and heard and like they matter. Well, like be there with them. Don't be so you've walked into a room with someone and you know when they feel disconnected. Like they're still in the last meeting or they're in the last call or they're in their head somewhere and you're like, I mean, I've gotten up from a table once before where I was like, okay, we're good. And they're like, what? I'm like, you're not here. And they're like, I said, we literally don't see each other. And here we are trying to have lunch and you're somewhere else, like trying to do something else. So that's cool, but I'm not wasting my time.
Yeah.
And they're like, whoa. I'm here. I'm like, okay, we're either here or somewhere else. Cause like limited time, like let's be all in. And it shifted their state real fast. And then it was great. But I was like, darn it, we have limited time. Like when we're here, like, could we just be here? You know what pisses me off is like, why do people get together and sit together and scroll social media looking at other people's lives? They're looking at other people's moments and missing out on creating the moment. I told a university, I said, you all are so damn focused on creating a real, REEL, instead of living real life.
Wow.
I was like, stop. Like, we need to stop trying to capture the moments that take us out of the moment because we're trying to create a reel instead of being real and here. I was like, this is so ridiculous. Yeah. So we sit and watch other people's lives instead of like living our life. You want to find joy, live the moment. I don't know where that came from, but
it was good.
It needs to be said.
I love it. Real versus real.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
And like we're talking about presence. That's why. Because it's like, how do we become more present? Stop living voyeurism through other people's lives.
Yeah.
Like I literally go on, I'll post what I need to post and whatever is right there is what I see. And if I see it, I'm like, oh, cheering people on. If it's not right there, when people are like, oh, did you see this? I'm like, no, I'm so sorry, but I can't because I don't want to lose time watching other people's lives I mean, how quickly do you lose 2 hours of life watching everyone else's life? I'm like, this is maddening.
Yeah.
Like we have to work on staying great, which is not trolling for 2 hours.
Yeah, 100%. So if I was to add a third theme, then it's like, number one, the adversity is coming.
Yeah.
Number two, you're going to doubt.
Yeah.
You're going to, struggle at times, embrace it. And number three, be as present as humanly possible in every moment, because that's how you turn the page. That's how you reframe the past challenges and frustrations, by just being fully here today.
Yeah. And how you'll start to find more joy in the moments.
Yeah. So I think the world of professional sports is probably for the average individual, it's like this, elusive, crazy thing. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us like a funny, like what's something that you didn't expect that you would experience or you didn't understand or know as a fan that was kind of like behind the scenes that you uncovered?
That's funny?
Funny, whatever. It's just something you were like, I would have never expected this.
Okay, this is not funny, but I think this is people. It's of course, amazing to make it to the pros. And it's the stage and all of that. Yes. But do you realize it's Groundhog's Day? It is such a grind. Traveling with the team. You know what? I could tell you. It doesn't matter. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It doesn't matter. You get up, you go watch video. You have to watch game film. Then you go do your shoot around. Then you come back and you have lunch. Then you take a nap because you literally got in at 3 a.m. and you're ready to go game time. Then you get up. Then you eat something. Then you go to the arena. Pre-game. Game. Then you eat something. Get on the plane. Fly to the next city. Get in at 3 a.m. Sneak your way into the hotel. It's 3 a.m. Like, how do you fall asleep right away? You're totally off your circadian rhythms. Then you try to go to sleep. Then you get up. Next city. Guess what? Film. Shoot around, exercise, lunch, literally nap. I mean, it is Groundhog's Day every day. And most people cannot stay consistent with anything. So when you see the pros being great, it's because they do the same thing every day. They may get a night off. By the way, they work 7 days straight, maybe get a night off. Sometimes 12 days straight, maybe get a night off. No parties. No weddings. They don't get to be at the birthday parties with their family. They miss out on all things for 9 months, literally until off season. But they're locked in, and it is Groundhog's Day. It's a grind, just like a lot of our lives are, our day to day. But people see all the flash when it's lights on, the cameras on.
It's glamorized.
Do you know what went in to make that stage? And by the way, they're working. I love it when fans are trying to talk to players in the middle of a game. It's like, imagine you're trying to stay so focused and someone's like, hey man, I love you. And I saw you last night. And I'm thinking, stop talking to them. They have to act like I would sit in the basketball. I'm like, basketball is the only place you could sit so close to players. And I'm like, could we back this away? Because we're trying to stay locked in and this is a distraction. But it's the game. It's the game. But my point is I don't think people realize the grind. It is, you think you see them at parties and yeah, they might get to go to a club here or there, but I'm telling you, that's like once every few weeks that they get to do something fun. Otherwise, it's heads down. Yeah. Like we're going. Now, they have a brotherhood. They make it fun. There's a lot of laughs. And you start to love your family. I mean, but you know what? Would you want to be around your family 24/7, like literally never get breaks? Travel with them, wake up with them. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, I am with my family. But I mean, even work with them. I love my family, but work with them, sit with them. I would need a break. I would need a break. They don't get breaks. They're with it. So it's a lot more than you realize. It's fun too, but it's a lot more than you realize.
Yeah. It sounds like everyday life for most of us.
Yeah.
Just a different game that they're playing.
And that's why when people get all starstruck, like, what are you getting starstruck for? Like, this is a human being that their life, now respect them, yes. Break down and start crying, or people get so bad they take a TV off their wall. Like, what is going on in your head? Like, this is a game, people. Or when people literally yell at players and get kicked out, I'm like, they don't care. So you just lost your ability to sit and enjoy a night out because you got crazy in your head. Yeah. I think I've told you, I want to do my thesis on the psyche of a fan. Like, it's bananas to me. And that, do you not have enough worth in yourself? Like, you're just as valuable in this world. No one's better than anyone. So appreciate the game, appreciate the grind, respect how hard they work, but don't devalue yourself just because someone gets more public attention.
It's so interesting to think about the psychology of a fan. It's just even from this frame. We won. They lost.
Yeah.
We won. No, they lost. Yeah. Like just the detachment of where like we want to celebrate when we win, but we want to blame or like, they lost. It's very interesting.
Or how about like just on the level of greatness? I mean, I say this all the time, but you'll come down on your favorite athlete if they don't do something right. And I want to be like, how about I come down on you when you don't do everything perfect? You can even handle the pressure. I don't care how much they make. They're trying to do their best. They fall short on 4th and 1 and you're all over them. What about when you fall short at 4th and 1? Would you like a little support? Yeah, you would.
Little grace.
So it's like, Twitter people out there, like, calm it down a little bit. Have some compassion and, just realize this is their job, that they're working hard every day trying to do their best, just like you are. They're just getting more attention. It's more TV time, but man, they're human.
Yeah.
And they're great people, and give them some grace.
I love that.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? Where can people follow you?
At the Coach Dar is on Instagram, or Darleen Santore on LinkedIn. I put most of my content on Instagram. I do videos probably daily, just trying to give some mental tools to get through this journey. CoachDar.com for sure just go there, and that leads you to everything else.
Yeah.
You can get the book there on Amazon or Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
I put out a newsletter every Thursday that I put a lot of work into, mental tips things I would take through my clients through. So it's just come once a week, but that's some mental fuel that I forget to tell people about, but I put a lot of heart into that. Just quick. It's super quick, give you the points you need. So you could sign up for that there too.
Yeah.
And then I'll be having retreats this summer, the experience, and all year. So stay tuned for that.
Amazing. Well, I love thinking about mental resilience as a muscle. Mm-hmm. It's it's obvious to us if we want to build our bicep, we lift weights.
Yeah.
It's not obvious that if we want to get mentally resilient, if we want to be able to deal with adversity, fears, doubts, insecurities, that we need to develop our mental muscle. And I think your book, The Art of Bouncing Back, is a workout guide for the brain.
Yes.
It teaches you exactly how to get resilient. Mm-hmm. The 9 principles are amazing. I've been so grateful getting to know you and getting to spend some time together. Thank you for coming here today. And if you guys are still listening, I truly believe the greatest gift we have is the gift of each other. And you've spent an hour or so with us today. So thank you for your time and attention. If you got value from this, please share it with someone that you know needs to hear it. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you very much.